Hey, this is Toby, welcome back to my channel. In this video we continue to code our moving average pullback EA. We started in one of the previous videos. If you have not seen the first part, I will link it up here, so you can go watch it and then come back to this video. Okay, so last time we coded the onInit function of our expert advisor and we added the indicators to the chart, and now we want to delete them when we remove the EA. So let's go to the meta editor and go to the onInit function, and here we can write a comment: release indicator handle. So first of all, we write a simple if statement here, and we check if the handle is not equal, so exclamation mark and equal sign, to a invalid handle. In this case, we want to release the indicator handle and delete the indicator from the chart. So for this, we can use the same function here, chart indicator delete, from the onInit function from last time. So I will just copy this line, paste it here, chart indicator delete, our moving average, and we also release the handle with the function indicator release, and here we just specify our handle moving average like this. Okay, let's hit compile, make sure we have no mistake, and I will just copy this and paste it. So we do the same for the ATR indicator, we change this to ATR. Also here ATR, the period ATR. Yeah, be very careful when you copy and paste code, because it's easy to miss something and then your expert advisor will not work. Okay, ATR, ATR, ATR. Let's compile. Okay, that's all we need to do in the onInit function. Now we can already take a look at the Ontick function here. Okay, now before we start coding here in the Ontick, maybe we test our code here from the onInit function. So I switch to a platform here. We can just drag and drop the EA on the chart. And if I remove the EA now, we can see the moving average is gone, but not the ATR. And it's probably the same mistake. Yeah. The sub window for the ATR indicator has to be 1. So let's compile again. So make sure to change the 0 here to 1. And let's test it again. So I drag and drop it on the chart. I remove the expert advisor. Okay, and now the moving average and the ATR indicator is gone. Okay, so let's take a look at the onTick function. Here, first of all, we want to get the current tick into our global variable tick we declared here. So we can just write a comment here, get current tick, because we will use this tick to get the current ask and bid price later. So we can use the function. First of all, we write a if statement here and a exclamation mark, and the function is called symbol info tick, and the symbol name, the current symbol. And now we can use our tick global variable here. We close the condition for the head of the if statement. We open the body of the if statement, and yeah, if this function here fails, then we just want to return or print a message maybe. So print failed to get current tick. Just a message for the user. And we also want to return for the onTick function, because there is, we should not continue to try to open a trade or a position or close a position when we don't have the current tick here. So we just write return here and we wait for the next tick. So let's hit compile, make sure we have no mistake. Okay, next step would be to get the moving average values. here in our Ontick function. So we can write a comment, get MA values or value, because we only really need the latest value. So we write or declare a new variable of type integer called value. And here we use the copy buffer function. We specify the handle of the moving average. We set the buffer number. Moving average has only one buffer, so 0. Because the indexing starts at 0. So the first buffer is index 0. The start position, let's also say 0, because we want to get the latest value and we only want to get one value here. And we want to store the value in our buffer moving average, like this. And yeah, maybe we can get the moving average value and the ATR value in one call. So I will change this here to values, this variable. Also the comment get MA and ATR values. And I will just add here another copy buffer function, because the copy buffer function returns the values copied into the buffer. And if we get one value here for the moving average and one value here for the ATR, our values variable here should be 2. But let's change the handle here to ATR, and here also only one index 0 for the buffer number, start at index 0, and also only one value, and we store the value in our ATR buffer. We add a semicolon, and let's compile. And now we should check if the copy buffer function here was successful. So we can just do this if we write a simple if statement. If values is not equal to 2, then we know something went wrong here with our copy buffer functions. So we can write a message for the user, maybe just a print statement here, failed to get indicator values, like this. And we also want to return for the Ontick function. We don't want to continue in the Ontick function. Okay, to test this, let's first of all declare a new variable here. Let's just call it MA. And here we get the latest value from our buffer. I will just use this MA variable here because it's easier to read later in the Ontick function than using this buffer MA index 0 all the time. And we also do this maybe for the ATR. So buffer ATR. So now we have our latest moving average value here and our latest ATR value here. And we can write a comment to check if this is correct for the moving average and the ATR. So let's just write here MA and then the MA value and ATR and the ATR value. Maybe we do this in a new line. So we can write \n to have this in a new line. So let's hit compile. Okay, before we continue to code, let's just test if we get the correct values. So I switch to the MetaTrader 5 platform, and yeah, you can just drag and drop the EA on the chart. Of course, for me right now, the problem is that it's Sunday and I don't get a new tick, so I don't see the moving average value. You can compare it here with your comment in the data window if you hover the crosshair over the latest bar. Keep in mind that the numbers here are rounded up. I can also test this in a strategy tester here. I select the EA, use the visual mode here, and I'll just start a test. And let's see. Okay, this will take some time to download the history, I think. Okay, I will just pause and I will compare the numbers in the data window and in the comment up here. So for the moving average, 11900. Yeah, it's rounded up. That's fine. ATR 217, 2167. Yeah. So we have the same values. We get the moving average value and the ATR value here into our two variables. And now the next step is to count the open positions from our expert advisor. And for this, we will write a new custom function. So we go down after our check inputs function. We write a new function. Well, let's first of all start with a comment here, count open positions. And the function will have void for the return type, count open positions is the name of the function. And for the parameters, we will have two parameters, one for the buy positions, and we will pass these parameters by reference. So we add the and sign here in front of the parameter name. So count buy, and the same of type integer and count sell. And we pass these parameters by reference because, of course, we want to get the value back when we call the function later in the Ontick function. And this way we can get two values back from this function. Let's open and close the function body. We should be able to compile. We don't have any mistakes. And in here, first of all, we start by setting the count buy to 0 and the count sell parameter to 0. Like this. And now we want to get the total number of open positions. So we declare a variable here, total, and this is equal to, I think this is called positions total. This is a predefined function from mql5, and with this function call we just get the number of open positions at the current time. And now we can use a for loop to loop through all the positions, and if we detect a position with our magic number, we can then increase the buy or the sell counter, because depending if it's a sell or buy position. So we can write a for loop here, for, and our counter of type integer I, we start at total -1. So we loop down, that's very important when you work with positions. And as long as the counter is greater or equal to 0, then we want to loop, and in the end we decrease our counter by 1. Like this. We open the body, close the body of the for loop. So let's compile again, no mistake. And in here, first of all, we select the position, and we use our position object from the C position class. Here, the global variable, we included the class up here. So now we can use it, position dot select by index. You can also use predefined functions from mql5 here to work with positions. One of you guys asked me this on Telegram. Sorry if I don't remember the name, but yeah, it's just personal preference if you use the class or the predefined functions. This time we used the class here. I think we used predefined functions in a few of the previous videos. Doesn't really matter. So select position by index, and here of course our counter like this. And now we check if our position dot magic number is equal to our input magic number. In this case, we know, okay, this position belongs to our EA. And next we want to check if it's a buy or sell position. So if the position dot position type is equal to position position type buy. In this case, of course, we want to increase the count by variable by 1. So count by plus plus. And we do the same for sell positions. So if the position type is position type sell, we increase the count sell variable by 1. Okay. We close the body of the if statement. And this is our for loop here. And this is the end of the count open positions function. So that's all we need to code here. Make sure to write position type and not just type here, because this will not work. So position type. And let's hit compile. Make sure you have no mistake. And now we can use this function in our Ontick function. So let's go back up to the Ontick function and let's write a comment here. Count open positions. And first of all, we declare two variables of type integer. We can also name them count by here and count sell. And now we can use our count open positions function, and we will pass our count by variable and our count sell variable here, like this. So now we know how many buy positions we have open and how many sell positions we have open at the current time. Next, before we check if we want to open a buy and sell position, maybe we want to draw the trigger levels, so it's easier for us to understand if the EA works correctly or not. So the trigger levels, as I said in the beginning, I think of the previous part, will be set by the moving average plus the ATR value here above the moving average and below the moving average. So let's draw these lines automatically inside the EA. So we can go down again and write a custom function after the count open positions function here. And let's just write a comment here. Draw trigger levels above and beneath the moving average, like this. And the return type for this function to draw the lines is void, and let's call this function draw objects here. Now for the inputs, we want to get the current moving average value into this function. So MA of type double here, MA value, and also of type double the ATR value, because these are local variables here, the MA and ATR. And if we call this function here, we need to pass these values to our draw objects function so we can draw the actual level. Let's open up the body, close the body. We should be able to compile without any mistakes. And the first step here is to delete the object delete here. Chart ID is null for the current chart, and now we need to specify a object name. Let's just call it trigger buy, like this. And now we want to create a object, so object create here, also null, same name. And now we need to specify the type of object H line here for horizontal line. Sub window is 0, so in the main chart window. And date time is also not important for a horizontal line, so just 0 is fine. And now the price, of course, is important. So we use the MA value. And for the trigger buy, This is the line below the moving average because we want to buy down here. So this line here is set by the moving average, and we subtract the ATR value multiplied by our ATR input factor. So the value here minus the ATR value multiplied by our input trigger level. So if this is 2, for example, we have our moving average value minus 2 times the current ATR value for the trigger buy level. Okay, and maybe we also want to set the color. So object set integer null for the chart ID. The object name is trigger buy. Object property is the color, because I think by default this will be red, but we already have the red moving average. So let's change the colors here for the levels to blue, maybe. Color blue, like this. And this should be all for the trigger buy. Yeah, let's compile. Okay, we have no mistake. Let's also do this for the sell level. So I will just copy this, paste it here. Let's change the name to sell, and also the name here and here. Now the value here is MA value plus. So we add the ATR values times the trigger input, and also blue, this is fine. Let's compile again, and let's use this in our Ontick function here at the end. After we count the open positions, I will just type here draw objects like this, and now we need to pass our MA value and our ATR value to the function. Okay, and now let's hit compile again. We should see the levels. If the market is open for you, you will see the levels here on the chart. But for me, because it's Sunday, I need to use the strategy tester. You can also do this in the strategy tester. So the visual mode, I will just press start here. So we can see the upper level here, trigger sell, trigger buy. Yeah, we can see the levels are displayed. So we draw the levels on the chart. That's fine. And now we can see if the price hits one of these levels, we can take a sell position up here and a buy position down here. So that's maybe the next thing we want to code here in our EA. Okay, but the video is already pretty long, so we will do this in the next part. If you want to learn mql5, I have a video course now on my website. If you are interested, make sure to check it out. Here I explain everything from zero to your first EAs and indicators, and you don't need any prior coding knowledge. Also, I have a Discord server now. You can join using the link down below. And yeah, if this video was helpful, make sure to leave a like. If you have a question about mql5, automated trading in general, just write a comment. And I will see you in the next video. Have a great day. Bye bye.